Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Mark, and this is English Unleashed for All. Today I want to share something with you that could completely change how you communicate, how you connect with people, and how you build relationships. Let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like people don't listen to you? Do you struggle to make friends or keep friends? Do you have conflicts with family members, coworkers, or neighbors? Do you sometimes say things and later think, why did I say that? Now they're upset with me. Do you want people to like you, respect you, and value your opinions? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then today's episode will change your life. Today I'm going to tell you about one of the most famous and powerful books ever written about human relationships. A book that has sold over 30 million copies worldwide. A book that has helped millions of people improve their relationships, their careers, and their lives. The book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was written by Dale Carnegie in 1936. Dale Carnegie was a teacher, a speaker, and an expert on human behavior. He studied successful people for many years. He wanted to understand what made some people so good at building relationships, while others struggled. And he discovered timeless principles that work just as well today as they did almost 90 years ago. Now, the original book was written in old-fashioned English. The examples are from a different time period. The language can be difficult for English learners. But today, I will make it simple for you. I will explain all the important principles in slow, clear English. I will use modern examples. I will show you exactly how to apply these ideas in your life today. By the end of this episode, you will know the secrets to making people like you. You will understand how to handle disagreements without creating enemies. You will learn how to persuade people and change their minds without arguing. You will discover how to be a better friend, partner, parent, and colleague. These skills will improve every area of your life. So, stay with me. Listen carefully. Take notes if you want. And let's begin this journey into the art of dealing with people. Dale Carnegie starts his book with a fundamental principle. He says that most people approach relationships completely wrong. They focus on what they want. They think about their own needs, their own desires, their own opinions. But this approach fails. Why? Why? Because other people don't care about what you want. They care about what they want. This sounds harsh, but it's true. Think about it. Right now, what are you thinking about? Your problems, your goals, your life. That's natural. That's human. Every person in the world is primarily interested in themselves, their health, their family, their work, their worries, their dreams. So if you want to influence people, if you want them to like you, you must think about what they want, not what you want. You must see the world from their perspective. You must talk about their interests, not just your own. This is the foundation of all human relations. Understanding this one principle will transform your relationships. Dale Carnegie organizes his book into several parts. Each part contains specific principles and techniques. Let me share these with you one by one. I will explain each principle clearly and give you examples you can use immediately. Part 1 is about fundamental techniques in handling people. These are the basic rules you must follow in every interaction with every person. Dale Carnegie says there are 3 fundamental principles here. Principle 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. This is extremely important. Most people criticize others constantly. They point out mistakes. They complain about what others do wrong. They condemn people's choices. And then they wonder why people don't like them, why people avoid them, why relationships fail. Dale Carnegie says criticism is futile. Futile means useless. It doesn't work. Why? Because criticism puts people on the defensive. When you criticize someone, they don't think, "Oh, you're right. I should change." No. They think, "You're attacking me. I must defend myself." They make excuses. They fight back. They resent you. Criticism destroys relationships. Carnegie shares a powerful example. He talks about Al Capone, one of the most notorious criminals in American history. Al Capone was responsible for many terrible crimes. But when asked about his actions, did he say, "I'm a bad person? I do evil things"? No. He said he was misunderstood. He thought he was actually helping people. Even a criminal doesn't see himself as bad. If criminals don't blame themselves, what about regular people? Nobody thinks they're wrong. Everybody has reasons for what they do. Everybody justifies their own behavior. So when you criticize them, you're attacking their self-image. They will defend themselves, not change. So what should you do instead of criticizing? Try to understand. Try to figure out why the person acts the way they do. What are their reasons? What are their pressures? What are they trying to achieve? When you understand someone, you don't need to criticize them. You can help them, or accept them, or work with them constructively. Dale Carnegie quotes Abraham Lincoln, who said, "Don't criticize them. They are just what we would be under similar circumstances." This is wisdom. Before you judge someone, imagine being in their situation with their background, their problems, their knowledge. You might act exactly the same way. Let me give you a modern example. Your coworker keeps making mistakes at work. Your first instinct might be to criticize them. "You made another error. You need to be more careful. You're not doing this right." How does that person feel? Defensive, embarrassed, resentful. They won't improve. They'll just avoid you. Instead, try understanding. Maybe they're overwhelmed. Maybe they don't have proper training. Maybe they're dealing with personal problems. Approach them with curiosity, not criticism. Say something like, "I noticed this happened. Is everything okay? Is there anything I can help with?" Now you're on their side. They'll be open to feedback and more likely to improve. Principle 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation. People have a deep need to feel important. Everyone wants to feel valued, respected, appreciated. This is one of the strongest human desires. If you can make people feel important, they will love you. But here's the key word: sincere. Dale Carnegie emphasizes this. You must give honest appreciation, not fake flattery. Flattery is insincere praise. You say nice things you don't mean just to manipulate someone. People can sense flattery. It makes them distrust you. Sincere appreciation is different. It's noticing something genuinely good about a person and telling them. It's finding real value in what they do and acknowledging. Everyone has something good about them. Everyone does something worthy of appreciation. Your job is to find it and express it. Most people do the opposite. They notice what's wrong and point it out. They take good things for granted and criticize bad things. This makes people feel unappreciated and worthless. But when you sincerely appreciate people, you make them feel important. And people who feel important want to be around you. They want to help you. They want to please you. Let me give you examples. Your partner cooks dinner every night. Most people don't say anything. It's expected. But what if you said, "Thank you for cooking. This tastes wonderful. I really appreciate that you do this for us every day." How does your partner feel? Valued, appreciated, loved. And they'll want to keep cooking. Your employee finishes a project on time. Most managers just move on to the next task. But what if you said, "I want to thank you for meeting that deadline. Your work on this was excellent. I appreciate your dedication." How does that employee feel? Recognized, important, motivated. They'll work even harder next time. The key is to be specific and genuine. Don't just say, "Good job." That's too vague. Say exactly what was good and why it matters. Your presentation was excellent, especially how you explained the data clearly. It really helped everyone understand the problem. That's specific. That's sincere. Dale Carnegie says that appreciation is one of the most powerful tools for influencing people. When you make people feel important and appreciated, they will do almost anything for you. Not because you manipulated them, but because you genuinely valued them. Principle 3. Arouse in the other person an eager want. This principle is about motivation. If you want someone to do something, don't talk about what you want. Talk about what they want. Show them how doing what you want will give them what they want. Most people do this wrong. They say, "I need you to do this. You have to help me. I want this from you." This is all about you. Why should the other person care? But if you say, "Doing this will help you achieve your goal, this will solve your problem, this will give you what you want," now you have their attention. Dale Carnegie gives a great example. He talks about a father whose son wouldn't eat breakfast. The father wanted the son to eat because it's healthy. But the son didn't care about health. He cared about being big and strong so he could play with older boys. So the father said, "If you eat your breakfast every day, you'll grow bigger and stronger, and then you can play with the big kids." The son started eating breakfast eagerly. Why? Because the father connected breakfast to what the son wanted. Let me give you a modern example. You want your teenager to study more. You could say, "You need to study because I said so. Studying is important. You'll fail if you don't study." But the teenager doesn't care about those reasons. Those are your wants, not theirs. Instead, find out what the teenager wants. Maybe they want to go to a good university. Maybe they want to get a car. Maybe they want freedom. Connect studying to their desire. If you study hard and get good grades, you'll get into a university you want, and you'll have the career and freedom you dream about. Now studying becomes something they want to do, not something you're forcing them to do. This principle applies everywhere. At work, at home, in friendships, in business. Instead of saying what you want, think about what the other person wants. Frame your request in terms of their benefit. This is not manipulation. This is understanding human nature. People are motivated by their own desires, not yours. Work with human nature, not against it. Now let's move to part 2. Part 2 is about 6 ways to make people like you. These are practical techniques you can use immediately to become more likable, more popular, more magnetic. Way 1. Become genuinely interested in other people. Most people try to make others interested in them. They talk about themselves, their achievements, their opinions, their life. They think this will make people like them. But it doesn't. It makes people bored. Dale Carnegie says the secret to being interesting is being interested. And when you show genuine interest in other people, they like you. Why? Because you're giving them what they want most: attention, recognition, the feeling that they matter. How do you show interest? Ask questions. Listen to the answers. Remember details about their life. Ask follow-up questions. Show curiosity about their experiences, their thoughts, their feelings. Make them feel like they're the most interesting person in the room. Carnegie tells a story about a man who attended a dinner party. He spent the entire evening asking a botanist about plants. He knew nothing about plants, but he was genuinely curious. At the end of the evening, the botanist told the host that this man was brilliant and fascinating. But the man had barely said anything. He had just listened and asked questions. The botanist felt brilliant and fascinating, so he associated those feelings with the man who made him feel that way. This works everywhere. At a party, instead of trying to impress people with your stories, ask them about their life. What do you do? How did you get into that? What do you enjoy about it? Tell me more. People will leave thinking, "What a wonderful person. I really enjoyed talking to them." At work, Show interest in your colleagues. How was your weekend? How's your project going? You mentioned your daughter was in a school play. How did it go? These small acts of interest build strong relationships. The key is genuine. You can't fake this. You're just pretending to be interested so people will like you. They'll sense it. You must develop real curiosity about people. Every person has interesting stories, unique perspectives, valuable experiences. Find them. Discover them. People are fascinating when you truly pay attention. Way 2. Smile. This sounds too simple, but it's incredibly powerful. A smile says, I'm happy to see you, I like you, I'm friendly, I'm approachable. A smile opens doors. A smile creates warmth. A smile makes people feel good. Dale Carnegie says that your smile is one of the most valuable assets you have. It costs nothing. It takes only a second, but it can change someone's entire day. A genuine smile can turn a stranger into a friend. It can soften a difficult situation. It can create opportunities. But again, the key word is genuine. A fake smile, a smile that doesn't reach your eyes, is worse than no smile. People can tell. So, how do you smile genuinely? Think about something that makes you happy. Think about someone you love. Feel good feelings inside and let them show on your face. You might say, but Mark, I'm not naturally a smiley person. I have a serious face. I don't feel like smiling. Dale Carnegie addresses this. He says, act as if you're already happy, and you'll become happy. Smile, even if you don't feel like it, and you'll start feeling better. Psychology proves this. The act of smiling actually makes you happier. It's not just that happy people smile. Smiling makes people happy. Think about who you like to be around. Do you prefer people who frown, who look bored, who seem unhappy to see you? Or do you prefer people who smile, who look pleased, who seem glad you're there? Obviously the second group. So be the second group. Smile at people. Make them feel welcome. Make them feel valued. I challenge you to try this. For 1 week, smile at everyone you meet. The cashier at the store, your co-workers, your family, strangers on the street. Just smile. A warm, genuine smile. Watch what happens. People will smile back. They'll be friendlier. They'll be more helpful. You'll feel better too. It's a simple action with powerful results. Way 3. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. People love hearing their own name. When you remember someone's name and use it in conversation, they feel important. They feel recognized. They feel valued. But when you forget someone's name, they feel unimportant. They feel insignificant. Dale Carnegie says that remembering names is one of the simplest and most effective ways to make people like you. Yet, most people are terrible at it. They meet someone, hear the name, and immediately forget it. Then they feel embarrassed and avoid using the name at all. Why does this happen? Because when someone introduces themselves, you're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about what you're going to say next. You're thinking about the impression you're making. You're not actually listening to their name, so of course you forget it. How do you remember names? First, actually listen when they say it. Focus completely on their name. Second, repeat it immediately. Nice to meet you, Sarah. Third, use it several times in the conversation. So, Sarah, what do you do? That's interesting, Sarah. Fourth, associate the name with something memorable. Maybe Sarah looks like someone else you know named Sarah. Maybe you think of a famous Sarah. Create a mental connection. Fifth, write it down after the conversation if it's important. Keep a note in your phone with people's names and a few details about them. Review it before you see them again. This takes effort, but it's worth it. Remembering someone's name makes them feel special. Forgetting it makes them feel like they don't matter. Use people's names in conversation, but don't overdo it. Using someone's name too much sounds fake and manipulative. Use it naturally. When you greet them, when you're asking them something, when you're thanking them. The right amount of name usage makes people feel warm toward you. Way 4. Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. This connects to being interested in people, but Carnegie gives it its own principle because it's so important. Most people are terrible listeners. They wait for the other person to stop talking so they can start talking. They interrupt. They change the subject to themselves. They don't really hear what the other person is saying. But Dale Carnegie says that being a good listener is one of the rarest and most appreciated qualities. When you truly listen to someone, you give them a gift. You give them your attention, your time, your respect. People who feel listened to feel valued, and they will like you for it. How do you become a good listener? First, stop thinking about yourself. Stop planning what you're going to say next. Stop waiting for your turn. Just focus completely on the other person and what they're saying. Second, show you're listening. Make eye contact. Nod. Say small things like, I see, really, that's interesting. These small acknowledgments show you're paying attention. Third, ask questions that show you heard them. They mention their daughter is learning piano. You ask, how long has she been playing? They mention a problem at work. You ask, how did you handle that? These questions prove you're listening and encourage them to say more. Fourth, don't interrupt. This is hard for many people. They get excited and want to jump in with their own thoughts. But interrupting says, what you're saying isn't important. What I want to say is more important. It's disrespectful. Let people finish their thoughts completely before you speak. Fifth, don't always try to solve their problems or give advice. Sometimes people just want to be heard. They want to express themselves. They want someone to understand. They don't necessarily want solutions. Listen more than you advise. Dale Carnegie shares that many successful people attribute their success to being good listeners. Business deals are made because someone listened. Relationships are saved because someone listened. Opportunities open up because someone listened. Listening is powerful. Way 5. Talk in terms of the other person's interests. This follows naturally from being interested in others. When you discover what someone is interested in, talk about that. Even if it's not your interest. Even if you know nothing about it. Ask them to teach you. Ask them to explain. Let them share their passion. Everyone has topics they love talking about. Their hobbies, their work, their children, their travels, their pets, their goals. When you get someone talking about their interests, they become animated, enthusiastic, happy, and they associate those good feelings with you. Dale Carnegie tells a story about Theodore Roosevelt. Whenever Roosevelt expected a visitor, he would stay up late the night before reading about topics that interested that visitor. If the visitor was interested in horses, Roosevelt would read about horses. If they were interested in stamps, he'd read about stamps. Then during the conversation, Roosevelt could discuss the visitor's interests intelligently. People left amazed at how knowledgeable and interesting Roosevelt was. But really, he was just interested in them. You don't have to read all night like Roosevelt. But you can pay attention to what people care about and ask them about it. Your neighbor loves gardening? Ask about their garden. Your colleague is into hiking? Ask about their recent hikes. Your friend collects vinyl records. Ask about their collection. This doesn't mean you never talk about your own interests. It means you balance the conversation. And when you're trying to build a relationship or influence someone, focus more on their interests than yours. Make them the star of the conversation. Way 6. Make the other person feel important, and do it sincerely. This is similar to giving appreciation, but it goes deeper. It's about making people feel genuinely significant, valued, respected. Everyone you meet considers themselves important. Everyone has struggles you don't see, accomplishments they're proud of, knowledge they've gained. Acknowledge this. Make them feel their importance. How do you do this? Listen to them as if what they say matters, because it does. Ask their opinion and seriously consider it. Thank them for small things. Compliment them sincerely. Introduce them to others with respect. Remember details about their life. Treat them as if they're someone special, because they are. The key, Carnegie emphasizes again, is sincerity. If you fake this, if you're just flattering people to get something from them, it backfires. People sense insincerity. But if you genuinely look for what's important and valuable in each person and reflect it back to them, you create powerful bonds. Dale Carnegie shares a beautiful quote. "Every man I meet is my superior in some way. In that, I learn of him." This was said by Ralph Waldo Emerson. It means every person knows something you don't. Every person is better than you at something. If you approach people with this attitude, you naturally make them feel important because you're genuinely learning from them. Now, let's move to part 3. Part 3 is about how to win people to your way of thinking. These are techniques for persuading others, changing minds, influencing decisions. But Carnegie's approach is different from typical persuasion. He doesn't teach manipulation or tricks. He teaches principles based on respect. Principle 1. The only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. Most people think arguments are how you convince someone. You present your points forcefully. You debate. You prove them wrong. But Carnegie says arguments almost never work. Why? Because nobody likes to be proven wrong. When you win an argument, the other person feels defeated, humiliated, resentful. Their pride is hurt. They may admit you're right with their words, but in their heart, they still believe they're right, and you're the enemy. So what should you do instead of arguing? First, avoid the argument if possible. If someone says something you disagree with, you don't have to challenge it. Sometimes, it's better to just let it go. Choose your battles. Not every disagreement needs to be resolved. Second, if the issue is important and you must address it, do so without arguing. Stay calm. Be respectful. Say something like, "That's an interesting perspective. I see it a bit differently. Let me share my view." Present your side without attacking theirs. Give them space to consider without feeling threatened. Third, look for common ground. Instead of focusing on where you disagree, find where you agree. We both want what's best for the company. We both care about this issue. We both want a good solution. Build from agreement, not from conflict. Dale Carnegie shares a story of a tax consultant who used to argue with tax inspectors. He would prove they were wrong about tax laws. He won the arguments. But he lost clients because the inspectors would find other ways to make things difficult. Then he changed his approach. Instead of arguing, he'd say, "You may be right. Let me check the regulations again." He'd find diplomatic ways to present his view. Suddenly, inspectors liked working with him. His clients benefited. He won by not arguing. Principle 2. Show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say you're wrong. These 3 words, "you're wrong," are like a slap in the face. They attack the person's intelligence, their judgment, their ego. When you tell someone they're wrong, they immediately become defensive. They dig in deeper to their opinion. They want to prove you wrong instead. What should you say instead? "I could be wrong. I often am. Let's examine the facts together." Or, "I thought differently. But I may be missing something. Help me understand your view." Or, "That's interesting. I hadn't considered it that way. Tell me more about your thinking." These phrases do something powerful. They prevent the other person from getting defensive. They show humility. They invite discussion instead of debate. And here's the secret. When you approach someone with humility and openness, they often become more open themselves. They start considering that maybe they could be wrong. But they came to that realization themselves, which means they'll actually change their mind. Dale Carnegie tells a story about Benjamin Franklin. As a young man, Franklin was argumentative. He loved proving people wrong. Then an old friend told him, "You'll never succeed like this. People hate being proven wrong. You make enemies." Franklin changed completely. He stopped using words like certainly, undoubtedly, or obviously. He started using phrases like "I imagine," "It appears to me I might be wrong, but..." This small change transformed his relationships and his influence. He became one of the most influential people in American history. Principle 3. If you're wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. Most people hate admitting they're wrong. They make excuses. They blame others. They defend themselves even when they know they messed up. But this makes things worse. It destroys trust. It creates resentment. Carnegie says, do the opposite. If you're wrong, admit it immediately. Say it clearly. Say it completely. I was wrong. I made a mistake. I messed up. This is my fault. Don't make excuses. Don't minimize it. Just own it. What happens when you do this? Several things. First, you disarm the other person. They were prepared to argue with you, to prove you wrong. But you already admitted it. There's nothing to argue about. Second, you earn respect. People respect those who can admit mistakes. It shows character, honesty, strength. Third, you make it easier for others to forgive you. When you fully own your mistake, people want to say, "It's okay, we all make mistakes." But if you make excuses or partially admit fault, people stay angry. They want you to fully acknowledge what you did. Give them what they want. Admit your mistake completely. Then apologize sincerely. Then make it right if possible. Carnegie shares a personal story. He had a dog who would run around without a leash in the park, which was against the rules. A police officer warned him twice. The third time, Carnegie saw the officer coming and spoke first. He said, "Officer, you've got me. I'm guilty. I have no excuse. You warned me. This is completely my fault." The officer was shocked. He ended up saying, "Well, it's not that serious. I know the dog isn't causing problems. Just try to keep him on the leash." Because Carnegie admitted fault so completely, the officer became lenient. Principle 4. Begin in a friendly way. When you need to persuade someone or address a problem, start with friendliness. Start with warmth. Or start with kindness. Create a positive atmosphere before you bring up the difficult topic. Most people do the opposite. They start with accusations, complaints, or demands. This immediately creates hostility. The other person becomes defensive and resistant. But if you start friendly, if you begin with appreciation or agreement or understanding, you create cooperation instead of conflict. For example, you need to talk to an employee about poor performance. You could start with, "Your work has been terrible lately. You're making too many mistakes. You need to do better." This creates defensiveness. Or you could start with, "I've really appreciated your contributions to the team over the years. You've always been dedicated. I wanted to talk with you because I've noticed some recent challenges, and I want to understand what's going on and how I can help." This creates openness. The content is similar, addressing poor performance. But the approach is completely different. The second approach starts friendly and supportive. It makes the employee feel valued before discussing the problem. They'll be much more receptive. Dale Carnegie emphasizes an old saying, "A drop of honey catches more flies than a gallon of vinegar." If you want to catch flies, use honey, not vinegar. If you wanted to influence people, use friendliness, not hostility. Principle 5. Get the other person saying, "Yes, yes," immediately. This is a subtle but powerful technique. When you want to persuade someone, start by asking questions they'll agree with. Get them saying yes, yes, yes right from the beginning. This creates a pattern of agreement. It makes them more likely to say yes to your main point. For example, you want to sell someone a product. Don't start with, "You should buy this." Start with questions. "You want to save money, don't you?" "Yes." "You want quality products, right?" "Yes." "You want good customer service, correct?" "Yes." After several yeses, they're in an agreeable mindset. Now present your product as something that gives them what they already agreed they want. This works because of consistency. Humans like to be consistent with their previous statements. If they've been saying yes, saying no suddenly feels inconsistent. They want to continue the pattern they started. But use this ethically. Don't trick people into saying yes to things that aren't good for them. Use this technique to help people agree to things that genuinely benefit them. Guide them to see how what you're proposing aligns with what they want. Principle 6. Let the other person do a great deal of the talking. When you're trying to persuade someone, you might think you should talk a lot. Present your arguments. Make your case. But Carnegie says, do the opposite. Let them talk. Ask them questions. Get them to express their thoughts, their concerns, their desires. Why does this work? First, people reveal information when they talk. They tell you what they value, what they fear, what they need. This information helps you tailor your approach. Second, people convince themselves when they talk. If you're listening well and asking good questions, they'll talk themselves into your position. They'll come up with reasons on their own, which are more powerful than any reasons you could give them. Third, people feel heard and respected when you let them talk. This makes them like you and trust you. They're more open to your influence because you honored them with your attention. So in any persuasive conversation, talk less than 30% of the time. Let them talk 70%. Guide the conversation with questions, but let them do most of the speaking. Principle 7. Let the other person feel that the idea is his or hers. People love their own ideas. They defend their own ideas. They implement their own ideas. But they resist other people's ideas, even if those ideas are good. So if you want someone to do something, make them feel like they thought of it. How do you do this? Plant seeds. Ask questions that lead them to your conclusion. For example, you want your team to start a new project. Don't say, "I think we should start this project." Instead say, "We've been having this problem. What do you think we could do to solve it?" Guide the conversation with questions until someone suggests the project you had in mind. Then say, "That's a great idea. Let's do it." Now it's their idea. They'll be enthusiastic about it. Or give them options that all lead where you want to go. You want your child to start studying earlier. Don't say you need to study right after school. Say, "Would you rather study right after school or after dinner?" Either answer gets them studying, but they feel like they made the choice. Dale Carnegie says, people are more committed to ideas they feel ownership of. So give them ownership. Even if it was your idea originally, present it in a way that makes them feel involved in creating it. Principle 8. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. This might be the most important principle in the whole book. Most conflict, most disagreement, most failed persuasion happens because people don't understand each other's perspective. You see things your way. They see things their way. Neither of you tries to see the other's way. Carnegie says, success in dealing with people depends on having a sympathetic grasp of the other person's viewpoint. Sympathetic grasp means truly understanding how and why they see things the way they do. Not just intellectually understanding, but emotionally understanding, feeling it. How do you develop this? Ask yourself, if I were them, with their background, their pressures, their knowledge, their fears, how would I see this situation? What would I want? What would I worry about? Imagine being in their shoes completely. Then, adjust your approach based on that understanding. If you're trying to persuade your boss to approve your proposal, don't just think about why you want it. Think about what your boss cares about. Maybe they care about budget. Maybe they care about risk. Maybe they care about their own boss's opinion. Frame your proposal in terms of their concerns. Show how it addresses what they care about. This isn't manipulation. This is empathy. This is smart communication. You're still being honest about what you want, but you're presenting it in a way that makes sense to them, not just to you. Principle 9. Be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. Similar to the previous principle, but this is about expressing sympathy, not just feeling it. When someone expresses an idea or desire, even if you disagree, respond with sympathy first. Say things like, "I understand why you feel that way. That makes sense given your situation. I can see why that would be important to you. If I were in your position, I'd probably feel the same way." These statements validate their feelings. They show respect. They create connection. Most people, when they disagree, immediately say why the other person is wrong. But that creates resistance. If you first show you understand and sympathize, then present a different view, they're much more open to hearing it. For example, your teenager wants to go to a party you're not comfortable with. Don't just say no. Say, "I understand you want to spend time with your friends. That's natural and important. I remember wanting to go to parties when I was your age." Now you've shown sympathy. The teenager feels heard. Then you can say, "I have some concerns about this particular party. Let's talk about them." Now, they're more willing to discuss it because you validated their feelings first. Principle 10. Appeal to the nobler motives. People have two reasons for doing things: the real reason and the reason that sounds good. For example, someone might buy an expensive car because they want to impress others. That's the real reason, but they'll say they bought it because it's safer or more reliable. That's the reason that sounds good. Carnegie says when you want to influence someone, appeal to the nobler motives. Appeal to their sense of honor, fairness, generosity, duty. People want to see themselves as good, moral, principled. Give them a way to do what you want while feeling noble about it. For example, you want your landlord to fix something in your apartment. You could say, "You're required by law to fix this. Do your job." That appeals to obligation and creates resentment. Or you could say, "I know you take pride in maintaining your properties well. You've always been a fair and responsible landlord. I'm confident you'll want to address this issue promptly." Now you've appealed to their pride and their self-image as a good landlord. They're more likely to help cheerfully. This works because people want to live up to the image you present of them. If you treat someone as honorable, they want to be honorable. If you treat them as fair, they want to be fair. Give people a reputation to live up to. Principle 11. Dramatize your ideas. The truth alone is not enough. You need to make it vivid, interesting, dramatic. People are bombarded with information. If you present your idea in a boring way, even if it's important, people won't pay attention. Dale Carnegie says, "This is the day of dramatization." Movies, TV, social media, everything is dramatic and visual. To compete for attention, you must dramatize. Show. Don't just tell. Create a memorable presentation. Use stories, demonstrations, visuals, anything that makes your idea come alive. For example, you want to convince your company to invest in better safety equipment. You could present statistics about accident rates. That's boring. People will forget. Or you could show a video of an accident that could have been prevented. Tell the story of a worker who was injured. Bring in someone to demonstrate how the new equipment works. Make it real and emotional and memorable. Now, people pay attention and take action. Even in everyday situations, dramatization helps. You want your kids to eat healthier? Don't lecture about nutrition. Make a game of trying colorful vegetables. Let them help cook. Create fun names for healthy meals. Make it interesting. Principle 12. Throw down a challenge. People love challenges. People love competition. People love proving themselves. If you want to motivate someone, challenge them. Make it about rising to the occasion, proving what they can do, achieving something difficult. Dale Carnegie says, the way to get things done is to stimulate competition. Not in a mean-spirited way, not by making people feel inadequate, but by challenging them to do their best, to prove their ability, to achieve something worthwhile. For example, you manage a sales team that's not performing well. You could threaten them or criticize them. That might work short-term but damages morale. Or you could say, I know this team is capable of great things. I'm challenging you to break our sales record this quarter. I believe you can do it. Let's see what you're made of. Now it's a challenge. Now it's exciting. People rise to it. Or with yourself. You're struggling to exercise regularly. Make it a challenge. Can I exercise 30 days in a row? Can I beat my personal record? Can I complete this difficult program? Challenges motivate us to push beyond what we think we can do. Now, let's move to part 4, the final part. Part 4 is about how to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. Sometimes you need to correct someone. Sometimes you need to give negative feedback. Sometimes you need to change someone's behavior. These are delicate situations. Do it wrong, and you create anger, resentment, damaged relationships. Do it right, and you help the person improve while maintaining the relationship. Principle 1. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. Before you criticize someone, before you point out what they did wrong, start with sincere praise. Remind them of what they do well. Appreciate their strengths. Then address the problem. This does several things. It shows you're fair and balanced, not just negative. It reassures them that you value them overall. It makes them less defensive because you started positively. And it reminds them they are capable of better because they've done well before. For example, you need to talk to an employee about being late. Don't just say you've been late 5 times this month. This is unacceptable. Start with, John, you're one of our best workers. Your quality of work is excellent. Customers love you. You're valuable to this team. That's genuine. Then, I need to talk with you about punctuality. You've been late several times recently. What's going on? Now he feels valued even while being corrected. Principle 2. Call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. Don't bluntly say you did this wrong. Find softer, indirect ways to point out the error. Use questions. Use suggestions. Use gentle hints. Give them a way to save face. For example, someone writes a report with errors. Don't say, this report has mistakes. Fix it. Say, this is a good report. I had one thought about this section. What if we check these numbers again to make sure they're accurate? Now you've indirectly pointed out the errors without attacking the person. Or use yourself as an example. I used to make the same mistake. Let me share what I learned. Now they can learn without feeling criticized. Dale Carnegie emphasizes, people hate being told they're wrong. Find ways to correct them that don't feel like an attack. Principle 3. Talk about your own mistakes before criticizing the other person. Before you point out someone else's error, mention a time you made a similar error. This does something powerful. It shows humility. It shows you're not perfect either. It makes them feel less defensive because you're admitting your own flaws first. For example, you need to tell a new employee they're making mistakes in their work. You could say you're making errors. You need to be more careful. That's harsh. Or you could say, when I first started this job, I made so many mistakes in this process. It was overwhelming. Let me show you what helped me improve. I think it'll help you too. Now you're connecting with them. You're helping them. You're not judging them. This works because it reminds them that everyone makes mistakes. Everyone learns. You're not superior to them. You're someone who struggled with the same thing and found a way through. Now, they want your help instead of resenting your criticism. Principle 4. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. Nobody likes being told what to do. Orders create resentment, even if the person follows them. But questions create cooperation. Questions invite participation. Questions make people feel respected. Instead of saying, "Do this task this way," ask, "What do you think about doing this task this way? Would this approach work?" Instead of, "You need to improve your performance," ask, "What do you think you could do to improve in this area? What support do you need from me?" When you ask questions, people often come up with the same solution you would have ordered. But now, it's their idea. They're committed to it. They feel ownership. And even if they suggest something different, their solution might be better because they know the situation better than you. Dale Carnegie says, asking questions not only makes orders more palatable, it often stimulates the creativity of the person to whom you ask them. People think more clearly and creatively when they're answering questions than when they're receiving orders. Principle 5. Let the other person save face. This is crucial. When you correct someone, when you criticize someone, when you win and they lose, give them a way to save face. Don't humiliate them. Don't make them feel stupid or worthless. Protect their dignity. Why does this matter? Because people don't forget humiliation. They might comply with what you want, but they'll resent you forever. They'll wait for a chance to get revenge. But if you let them save face, if you treat them with respect even when correcting them, they'll be grateful. They'll respect you. They'll work with you instead of against you. How do you let someone save face? Give them an excuse. Blame circumstances instead of them. Make the error seem small. Focus on the future, not the past. For example, someone didn't complete a project on time. You could say, "You're irresponsible. You failed." That destroys them. Or you could say, "I know you had a lot on your plate. This project fell through the cracks. Let's figure out how to make sure it doesn't happen again." Now they can save face. The error was due to being overwhelmed. Even when you fire someone, you can let them save face. Don't tell everyone they were terrible. Let them resign. Give them a neutral reference. Let them preserve their reputation. It costs you nothing and means everything to them. Principle 6. Praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Don't wait until someone is perfect to praise them. Catch them doing things right, even small things. Praise small improvements immediately and sincerely. Why does this work? Because praise is motivating. When someone gets praised for improvement, they want to improve more. They want more of that good feeling. They want to live up to your expectations. But if you only criticize mistakes and never acknowledge progress, people give up. They think, "Nothing I do is good enough. Why bother trying?" Dale Carnegie says, "Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise." Approbation means approval. Be generous with approval and praise. Most people are starving for appreciation. Give it to them abundantly. But remember, it must be sincere. Fake praise is worse than no praise. So look for genuine improvements, genuine effort, genuine progress, and sincerely acknowledge it. "I noticed you arrived on time this week. Great job." "I saw you handled that customer much better. Well done." This section of the report is much clearer than last time. Excellent improvement. Each small praise builds momentum. The person feels encouraged. They try harder. They improve more. They get more praise. It's a positive cycle. Principle 7. Give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. This is similar to appealing to nobler motives. Tell someone they have a good quality, and they'll want to live up to it. Create an expectation of excellence, and people will try to meet it. For example, you have a child who's been dishonest. You could say, "You're a liar. You can't be trusted." Now they have a reputation as a liar. They'll likely continue lying because that's who they are. Or you could say, "You've always been honest. Honesty is important to you. I know you made a mistake this time, but I trust you to be truthful going forward." Now they have a reputation as an honest person who made one mistake. They'll want to live up to that reputation. Carnegie says, if you want to improve a person in a certain respect, act as though that particular trait were already one of their outstanding characteristics. Assume the best in people. They'll try to prove you're right. This works in all relationships. Tell your employee they're reliable, and they'll become more reliable. Tell your partner they're thoughtful, and they'll be more thoughtful. Tell your friend they're wise, and they'll give you wiser advice. People become what we expect them to be. Principle 8. Use encouragement. Make the fault seem easy to correct. When someone makes a mistake or struggles with something, don't make it seem huge and impossible. Make it seem small and fixable. Encourage them that they can improve. Make the path forward seem achievable. For example, someone is struggling to learn a new skill at work. Don't say, "This is really hard. Most people can't master this. It takes years." That's discouraging. Instead say, "This seems tricky at first, but you'll get it quickly. It just takes a few tries. I've seen people master this in a couple weeks. I'm confident you will too." Now, they feel encouraged. They believe they can do it. So they try harder and succeed. Dale Carnegie says, tell a child, a husband, or an employee that they're stupid at something, that they have no gift for it, and you've destroyed almost every incentive to try to improve. But use the opposite technique. Be liberal with encouragement. Make the thing seem easy to do, and the person will practice until they excel. Principle 9. Make the other person happy about doing what you suggest. This is the final principle. When you want someone to do something, frame it in a way that makes them happy to do it. Show them the benefit. Show them why it's good for them. Make it appealing. Most people just demand or order. You need to do this. But that creates reluctance. Instead, explain the positive outcome. If you do this, you'll benefit in this way. You'll feel good. You'll achieve your goal. Now, they want to do it. For example, you want an employee to take on a challenging project. Don't just say, "I'm assigning you this project. Get it done." Say, "I'm giving you this project because I think it will showcase your skills. This is a high-visibility project that could lead to promotion opportunities. I chose you because I know you can handle it. This is a chance to shine." Now they're excited about the project instead of dreading it. Or with your children. Don't say, "Clean your room because I said so." Say, "When your room is clean, you'll feel so much better. You'll be able to find your things. Your friends will think it's cool. You'll be proud of your space." Make the task connected to benefits they care about. The principle is simple. People do things willingly when they see how it benefits them. Show them the benefit. Make them happy to cooperate. So, my friend, let me summarize this incredible book for you. How to Win Friends and Influence People teaches us that success with people comes from focusing on them, not on ourselves. Don't criticize. Give appreciation. Think about what others want. Become interested in people. Smile. Remember names. Listen well. Talk about their interests. Make people feel important. When persuading, avoid arguments. Show respect. Admit your mistakes. Be friendly. Let people talk. Make them feel ideas are theirs. See their point of view. Appeal to noble motives. Dramatize ideas. Challenge people. When correcting, start with praise. Point out mistakes indirectly. Mention your own mistakes first. Ask questions instead of giving orders. Let people save face. Praise every improvement. Give people a good reputation to live up to. Encourage them. Make them happy about what you suggest. These principles work. They worked in 1936 when the book was written. They work today. They'll work forever because human nature doesn't change. People want to feel important. People want respect. People want appreciation. Give them what they want, and they'll give you what you want. Help them feel good about themselves, and they'll do anything for you. I challenge you today. Choose one principle from this episode. Just one. Practice it for the next week. Maybe you'll smile more. Maybe you'll remember names. Maybe you'll give sincere appreciation. Maybe you'll listen better. Choose one and practice it consistently. Watch what happens. You'll notice people responding differently to you. They'll be warmer, friendlier, more cooperative, more helpful. Your relationships will improve. Your influence will grow. Your life will get better. Then add another principle. Then another. Slowly build these skills. They're not manipulative tricks. They're genuine ways to connect with people, to respect people, to value people. And when you value people, they value you back. Thank you for staying with me through this entire episode. You just learned one of the most important books ever written about human relationships. And you did it in simple English. I'm so proud of you. Remember, the fortune is in the follow-up. Don't just listen. Act. Use these principles. Practice them. Make them part of who you are. Your relationships will transform. Your success will grow. Your life will become richer and fuller. I am Mark, and this is English Unleashed for All. Until next time, focus on others, show genuine interest, and watch your world change. Goodbye, my friend.